You always know exactly where you are in time. Now imagine that gone. No calendar, no date, no months, not even a word for year. Just you, standing in an endless flow of days that never announce themselves. We imagine that without a calendar, ancient people had no real sense of time, that one day blurred into the next, that they had no idea a year was passing. It feels reasonable. No numbers, no dates, so no time. But it's completely wrong, and dangerously so. Because for these people, knowing where you were in the year wasn't a convenience. It was the difference between life and death. Miss the timing of a migration, a frost, a flood, or a ripening, and your whole group could starve. They couldn't afford to lose track of time, so they didn't. They simply learned to read time from the one clock that never stopped and never lied, the sky. Start with the most obvious hand on that clock, the sun. Watch where the sun rises every morning, and you'll notice it doesn't always come up in the same spot. Across the year, the rising point slides along the horizon, creeping one way, stopping, then sliding back. At the two extremes, it seems to pause and reverse the moments we now call the solstices. Ancient humans noticed this with their bare eyes, and they marked it. They lined up stones, notches, and landmarks with the exact point where the sun rose or set on those turning days. When the sunrise hit that marker, they knew precisely where they stood in the year. They had turned the horizon itself into a giant, unmissable calendar. Then there was the moon, the fastest and most reliable counter in the night. The moon swells from nothing to full and back again in a steady, repeating cycle you can count on your fingers. And ancient people did exactly that. Some of the oldest mysterious objects ever found are bones marked with long, careful sequences of scratches made tens of thousands of years ago. Many researchers believe these are tallies, counts of the moon's phases, a physical record of time passing kept notch by notch. If that's right, then humans were keeping written time long before they kept written words. Counting moons let them measure stretches of weeks and months with nothing but a sharpened stone and a steady eye. But the deepest clock of all was the stars. As the year turns, the night sky slowly wheels overhead, and different stars and constellations appear at different seasons. A particular bright star rising just before dawn might arrive at the same point every year, and ancient people learned to read those star risings like pages of a calendar. The reappearance of certain stars could announce that the rains were coming, that the cold was near, that it was time to move or to harvest. Cultures all over the world, who never met and never shared a language, independently built their entire sense of the year around the rising and setting of the stars. The sky was a calendar that every human on Earth could see at once. Here's the part most people never consider. They didn't just read these signs. They wove them into a living web with the land itself. The position of the sun told them the season. The season told them which animals were moving, which plants were fruiting, which rivers would swell. The first warm star paired with the first returning bird and the first green shoot. To an ancient human, the year wasn't an abstract number on a grid. It was a rich, interlocking pattern of sky and earth and life, all confirming each other. They didn't know it was, say, March. They knew something far more useful, that the long shadows, the returning geese, and a certain star low in the dawn all meant the same thing, and that it was time to act. Their calendar wasn't on a wall. It was the entire world, read all at once. And this is the twist that should genuinely humble us. We tend to think the calendar was invented to create order in time, but the order was already there, perfect, ancient, turning overhead every single day. The sun's march along the horizon, the moon's phases, the wheel of the stars. These were running with clockwork precision long before any human existed, and will keep running long after. All our ancestors did, all anyone has ever done, is learn to read a clock that was already ticking. The calendar on your phone is just a copy, a paper shadow of the real one. We didn't invent timekeeping. We inherited a universe that keeps perfect time and slowly learned to listen to it. So glance at that date on your screen one more time. It feels like proof of how far we've come, until you realize your ancestors knew the same thing you know, the season, the turning of the year, the moment to act, and they knew it by looking up instead of down. They needed no battery, no signal, no numbers at all. They had the sky, and they had the patience to learn its language. You didn't invent the year. You inherited the ability to find your place in time, first written not on paper, but in sunrises, moons, and stars, by people who never once forgot to look up.